It's a market-oriented approach to weathering the changing economic times. Recent targeted cuts to reserve ratios have freed up about 3.4 trillion yuan of basic currency, but private and small enterprises continue to struggle with financing difficulties. So, China's central bank is making it easier for them to borrow.
Current economic development is pledging to improve the efficiency of market resource allocation and to promote the integration of loan interest rates. The priority is to cultivate a more market-based interest rate benchmark.
The LPR will be linked to rates set during open market operation while increasing the coverage period to 5 years. Banks should refer to the LPR regarding newly issued loans.
The implementation of the new LPR better reflects the true level of the loan interest rate, improves the efficiency of the transmission mechanism of the monetary and credit policy, and accelerates funding liquidity.
The flexible change gives private and small enterprises access to funds at rates that better reflect funding conditions in the banking system. As for housing loans, authorities say real estate will not be used to stimulate the economy in the short term and that mortgage interest rates will not be impacted.
After delaying some tariffs on telecoms and computer equipment last week, this week the Trump administration is granting another temporary reprieve for Huawei. This will mean Huawei will continue to be able to use Google's Android operating system on its smartphones, chips from US companies like Qualcomm, and continue to supply rural networks in the US that depend heavily on the company. Huawei was placed on the so-called entities list for ill-defined national security reasons back in May, but pressure from US tech giants like Google and semiconductor firms that depend on Huawei for a big chunk of their profits had pressured the White House to ease the ban. While the move will help Huawei in the short term, the US Commerce Secretary also announced the US has added another 46 Huawei affiliates to the entities list, and that this extension was only granted to give US companies and customers time to switch suppliers. In response, Huawei said this extension does not change the fact that the company has been treated unjustly. The statement reads in part, "We oppose the US Commerce Department's decision to add another 46 Huawei affiliates to the entity list. It's clear that this decision, made at this particular time, is politically motivated and has nothing to do with national security. These actions violate the basic principles of free market competition. They are in no one's interests, including US companies." Of course, placing Huawei on this entities list, along with dozens of its affiliates, is part of the global war on the telecommunications company unleashed by the Trump administration. As we know, there has been pressure put on allies in Asia and Europe to abandon Huawei when it comes to the rollout of 5G technology, of which it is a leader. So far, that has had a lukewarm response in Europe and in Asia. In fact, Huawei continues to increase its revenues in these areas despite US pressure.
Lights, music, and beer. And one of the most popular commercial areas in Shanghai, the Daning Life Hub. They started a beer festival here last week to attract more customers. And it's worked. Special events like this are just one thing in Shanghai now. Beginning at the end of June, more than 50 restaurants and shops in the Daning Life Hub began to extend their business hours to midnight on weekends. And the customers just haven't stopped coming.
Shopping malls usually close at 10 at night, so there will be fewer visitors come after 9 p.m. But since we extended business hours after June 28th, both sales volume and the visitor flow have all seen double-digit growth.
So who are the consumers that consume at night? A report from consulting firm Kantar Worldpanel says most of them are young people born around 1985 or 1990.
Young people like us who sleep late at night, we meet friends at night and have some food together. Work pressure is pretty heavy, so we relax at night.
I often work overtime. Some restaurants close at 10, but if they extend to 12, I can go out and have some drinks and food with friends.
In Shanghai, there are many places like this that have extended their business hours or offer different activities to provide a more entertaining nightlife. While they provide more places to go, they also help to boost the consumption sector.
Restaurants are the big beneficiaries of the night economy. even though the sector is pretty competitive. And other consumption scenarios like leisure, shopping, and sightseeing have also grown quickly. Milk tea shops and dessert shops where you can just buy something and take it away. 24-hour convenience stores also fit this pattern.
Kantar data show that nighttime spending now accounts for less than 20% of consumption expenditures during any 24-hour period. But with more customers coming to late-night businesses, there should be more cash coming into China's nightlife economy.
Cyprus is synonymous with a laid-back lifestyle. Sun, beach, sand, vacation. But a few years ago, things weren't so relaxed. Financial crisis fueled by bank lending necessitated a bailout and tough austerity measures. Ironically, at the same time, Forex companies doing business in Cyprus were thriving. Why would global investment firms set up shop in a country downgraded to junk status?
Because we have also the FCA regulation that is based in UK, this gives strength and even more the trust for clients, investors.
Regulations protecting investors and significant tax breaks. 12.5% corporate tax versus the UK's 19%. Make Cyprus an attractive incorporation address. There are about 100 international Forex companies operating out of Cyprus today, but the boom is starting to bust. New EU regulations aimed at standardizing investments are pushing companies toward less regulated countries.
The big ones are staying, but they're only making maybe a third of the money they were making before.
And there is Brexit to consider.
We have 2 licenses and 2 legal entities in the UK and here in Cyprus. We're well prepared for any case of any scenario of Brexit.
Standard & Poor's ranks Cyprus as one of the top 4 economies vulnerable to Brexit trade effects.
In their thousands, worshippers and tourists have been flocking to see the lost temple. The columns and statues have been underwater for 20 years. The temple was submerged when a dam was built and the valley flooded. But this part of Thailand has been hit by one of the worst droughts for years, causing water levels to fall and fall, revealing the temple ruins.
I used to come here as a child with my friends. There was a television at the temple, and we all came to watch it. There was a big arch and a main hall, as well as the statue of the Buddha and a pavilion.
Many have been drawn here by news of the temple's reappearance.
I had only seen the dam and the water. I had never seen a temple before.
I didn't know there was a temple here under the water, even though I don't live far away.
The reservoir is now at a record low, holding just 3% of its water capacity. While these alarmingly low water levels have provided an unexpected opportunity for people to view the lost ruins, they're also proving to be a major problem for farmers in the area. And all this is happening in what is supposed to be the monsoon season. The continuing drought is seeing fields dry up, denying moisture to crops like rice and tapioca. Normally, water from the dam irrigates farms across 4 provinces. Now there's hardly enough for the local area. Thailand often experiences diverse weather. While the central area is struggling with a water shortage, in the west there's been extreme rainfall, causing flooding, swollen rivers, and threatening structures like the world's 2nd largest wooden bridge, the Mon Bridge at Kanchanaburi. Near where the temple stood can be seen the remains of some of the homes that once surrounded it. Here there is concern for the harvest, but in the meantime many are taking the chance to once again lay flowers and worship at the temple, returned from the deep.